What are you building? Like, what are you working?
Okay. How do I explain it? I don't have that down yet either, but I've been building. Me and my partner have been building for a couple of months now. It's a platform to be able to deploy your little micro apps for your business, and it connects to like Sheets or QuickBooks and things like that with just a single click, so you don't have to manage keys or anything like that. And it's kind of like Bolt. It's kind of like those kind of platforms where you just say like, "Hey, I want to build X and Y," and then it'll do the build for you. And
Okay.
then it could go live. You just click save and it's live. So it's extremely fast to build things. It's extremely easy to build things. Um, knowing
So
how
how's it difficult to explain for you? Like you're saying, it's like Bolt and
oh, yeah.
it's
But
better than Bolt. Like, how's it
um,
different than Bolt?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay, okay,
It's different than Bolt because the purpose is to build small micro apps. So your app can only be a single page. You can't have some giant like
okay.
JSX like React application. There's no build time either. As soon as you click save, it's live. Very, very extremely fast.
That's great. So like single page apps is kind of the angle,
Hmm.
and you're optimizing it for that, like single use, single feature.
Single use, single feature, yeah. Yep, exactly that. And the purpose is for if you have a business of some sort and you don't want your employees to go into Sheets and like mess up stuff or that kind of thing. You can just build a small micro app for them and share it with them. So when you have your account, you can actually share these micro apps within your team, and they're
Okay.
and they're live, and you can set who can access them.
Okay,
So
so
if
you
you
got like
want,
access control in like
yep,
links and whatever.
yep,
Is it live on a website or in
yes,
the app?
live
So
site,
you
yeah.
deploy it on like whatever Vercel or something like that. You're on
Hmm.
deployment.
Hmm.
Okay, and then you can share the thing and you have access control on it. And then my question is, does it have access to any kind of data?
So if you give it access to your Sheets, to your QuickBooks, things like
Okay,
that, then yes, it can access your data. Um, and it also has a little data store thing as well. So if you want, my co-founder actually built a little app and shared it yesterday. It's like a little game.
okay,
And when you play it, it will update. Uh, it'll save the high score and it'll show it to anyone that's actually on it, actually playing the game. So that's like one very small example of what's possible with it, but. We've built other things too. It's just we
so
haven't.
who's the target for this?
Who's the target is small businesses that either have one slightly technical person or just none. You don't need to know how to code. Knowing how to code is a plus, but if you don't know how to code, that's fine too. You could just build it with.
But it's
Uh,
not a target, right? Like, because a target, when you think about marketing, right? A market is a group of people that know
hmm.
each other.
Hmm.
Like, for example, like build in public, right? That
Yeah.
we kind of all know each other. We know this guy, we know that guy.
Yep. Yep. That's
There's
true.
like a trust that so you can target build in public. So when for your thing, who are you targeting like that? Like specifically, is it like developers, high-end developers? Is it, like who is it exactly? Because it sounds like it's a cool product.
Hmm.
Uh, maybe like what kind of businesses would use this because it'll help you in the next steps to kind
That's
of
true.
position it correctly.
That's true. Yeah, I guess we don't have that defined yet. Initially, the audience would be people on Twitter that just like to build stuff because
That's
um,
fine.
we're not we're live on the site, but we're still in a private beta currently, just to
Okay.
like, gather info like what works, what doesn't work. Is this button good? Is that feature bad? That kind of
Okay.
stuff.
So right
Uh,
now it's kind of like a almost a passion project on steroids. Like you're like, this is amazing. We built it for us.
Yeah, I've been
Next
we've
step
been
is you're
building it
gonna
for a couple. Yeah,
what?
we've been building it for a couple of months now, so a few months actually.
Yeah.
So the goal is to just gather info on it now and then go public with it maybe in a few weeks or like a month, and then
Oh, yeah.
hopefully people will enjoy using it and share it with their teams or with their friends and things like that.
That's great. Uh, what's like? I want to like drill a little more
Sure.
before we open it up for questions.
Sure.
But who do you think wants this the most? Like, if you're gonna think like the easiest money,
Yeah.
right? Like, who can you go and be like, "Hey, I built this." They're like, "Here, take all my money." Right? Who's
Um,
that?
so there's a couple of groups and they're very different groups.
Hmm.
One group is indie hackers who can take on little like side work that they find little companies that need like a small single purpose application for their employees. Like I said, if you need some kind of a form, if you need to
I'm gonna
check
simplify it for you. Agency owners, like software agency
agency
owners.
owner. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
Software
one.
agency owners is one. Like
Exactly
they're
that.
gonna
Yeah.
do that. All right. Is there another target market?
Yes, it's probably even more niche. So my co-founder, he runs a laboratory, and this was built to suit his needs because his employees need to go into their sheets and do certain things, but you don't want to give them full access to everything for certain stuff. So one example is, um, how do you price? They have this pricing model that's kind of complicated. And
Okay.
if you go into Sheets and like type in all the numbers, it just doesn't look good. It's hard to use and things like that, right? So instead, he wanted to build a little micro application that you can just type in the numbers on some nice form, and then it'll spit out what price this thing should be. So business owners or small businesses, again, I know I keep saying that, but small businesses that have little niche needs for small applications, and you don't want to hire a dev to build out this whole thing for you. You don't want to go to like, a different country to find all these devs or to
Hmm.
hire people and deal with all of that when you can just go into our platform,
Hmm.
a few clicks, and you have a little application deployed.
That's great. Okay. So agency owners,
Hmm.
I guess people who want to play around with it, like, the community we're in, and then this kind of like special purpose apps to kind of mitigate access and stuff like that, like kind of like control access. Like the
Exactly. Yeah.
access part, like because you were talking about making access control, whatever. So this like access control is the kind of like the feature where you can limit access to certain data you have or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yep.
great.
Yep.
What's it called?
Depler.com, Deplyr.
Oh, yeah, Deplo. All right. You got any questions or like
Um,
help you need?
One question, I guess one question. It's more of like a social media question because I don't really use social media much.
Sure.
We just got on Twitter, like last week or something. We're trying to grow our audience and we don't know how. Like it's difficult it feels like it's difficult, but maybe I'm not doing something right or I just don't
What?
know where to
So
start.
what are you guys trying? Uh, and
So we're
how's it difficult? Like, can you explain more?
So we're just commenting on people's posts and posting like little tweets here and there, but I think what we need to do is create little videos of like how to build little apps or like examples of apps that we've built.
Hmm.
And hopefully people would like those and share those and stuff. We posted one yesterday. It didn't really get any traction at all, but we don't have a lot of people on our
Are you posting to the void or you're posting in communities and stuff?
I don't know. I guess to the void.
Okay. So my take is post in places where there is attention,
Uh-huh.
so where the eyeballs are at. Because if you
Hmm.
just post to the void, you're kind of relying on the algorithm, and the way the algorithm works is it shows to 50% followers, 50%. non-followers,
Mm-hmm.
and that scales with. So if you have 1,000 followers, right, it's going to show it to 1,000 people. But if you have 10 followers, it's going to show it to whatever, you know, 5 people.
Yeah.
And then you're relying on that to kind of get propagated. So that's my take. Anybody else have any takes? Jordan, Vlad, Don, welcome. Can you guys unmute yourselves and talk, or is this?
Yeah, no, I agree with your take on that. It's like, yeah, when people kind of post to the void, you kind of leave things in the algorithm's hand at that point. It's like, yeah, like even for myself, like most of the time I'm trying to post in communities, even not having a large channel. It's just like post in communities, let it grow from there. And then, you see larger channels being able to like, hey, go ahead and post to the void, so to speak. And then it just takes off because, well, they have 20,000 subscribers or followers at that point. And, they don't need a community because they are the community at that point.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. That's another good idea. Is like big accounts that are in that niche, their replies is kind of a pseudo community too.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Sorry, a bit nervous. First time on one of this. My name's Don from England.
I'm from England. Do
Yes.
you have video?
Unfortunately, no. I was on
Okay,
the
that's fine.
bus
But
previously, but I saw your call, and the notes on your community has been quite helpful because I've just started, so I thought I'd join in today and sort of share what I
you
have
got
and get
any
some.
ideas for my man Joseph?
What was the question? Sorry.
So he has this platform which is similar to both, but more niched down to like single page applications, and it has like access control features that kind of differentiate it. So he's trying to just promote it and see, who likes this, and like, do you have any ideas for how he can use social media to kind of?
Uh, I'm pretty much on the same boat. I've just recently put out my wait list, and it's the first time I've ever built anything. So I was hoping to get some advice as well. But from what I've done is try and share it where you can. But when you have a small following, it's quite hard. So I think communities like this do help. And yeah, I mean, any advice that I'd give to him is something I'd need for myself. So
That's good. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, communities, big accounts. Vlad, my man, what's going on? The chef,
Hey, what's up? What's up?
what's going on? Do you have any ideas?
I mean, I think the best thing you can do, Joseph, I didn't really get the gist of what your platform does. I mean, Saeed just mentioned that it's something like Bolt, but it's like
Yeah.
niche down to specific use cases.
Mm.
I think the best approach for these sort of tools is to get apps out there, like either
Mhm.
you or people, someone else, like find people like prolific builders like me, and just get them to build stuff like little apps for you, and then just put them out, and that is the best way. Because I think what happens is like, Twitter. I just tweeted this a few minutes ago. It's like a small bubble, and
Mhm.
sometimes we kind of think this is a huge market, and it's
Yeah.
not really that big in reality. Like, so so we have to kind of space out, like kind of spread the word more, and also a lot of these tools, like people, like, it's crazy to think this, but many people, they, even though they actually don't have to do much, they
Mhm.
don't know how to use it, they don't know what to do. Okay,
Yeah.
this can build anything for me, what can I do? You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So sometimes people need something to kind of light the fire. Okay, hell, holy shit! I can just build something that kind of scrap
Right.
hacker news and then give me the latest, the hottest post or whatever stuff like that, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So you need someone who's always like kind of posting stuff, building little kind of applications, and just posting them out there. And it's gonna take time. Like, it's gonna take time for this thing to kind of to catch on, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, eventually someone with a big following will see, and he will post about it, and then it will give you a big spike, but it will come back down. So,
I
but yeah,
love
you
it.
have to just be consistent. Be
Just to
consistent.
like repackage the idea,
Mm-hmm.
is partner with creators who will use it, because now you kind of leverage their platform. Such a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, Raymond, my
And
man,
even
you got anything?
Hey, sorry, I was just driving. Um, I do have a question. So, how do you plan on addressing scale? Like, for example, I know you were talking about small teams and
Mm-hmm.
they could use that to solve their problems. But
Yep.
what if you need to scale it out and get a bigger audience. Do you handle that? And do you plan on handling that? How would that go?
Yeah, you can answer that, but this is not the format of the show for everybody else for future reference.
Sure.
Okay.
Because we don't want to grill people on questions they're not prepared for. We just want to help them with the next step.
Mhm.
So if you don't want to answer, don't. But do you have ideas for scale?
My answer to that question is another question, so I don't know if I should ask my I don't know if we should continue down with that route.
Yeah. So let's just keep it to the format where we kind of just address uh the thing. But yeah. Do you have any reactions, Joseph, before we move on?
Just one. Would you guys say that partnering and sponsoring someone to kind of do these posts for us is better or worse or equivalent to us just posting a bunch every single day on what you can build with our application?
Yeah, I think definitely don't pay anybody. Like just hey, I got this great because you want to see if your tool is amazing enough that
Mhm.
people are going to be like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I want to build with that, because you're
Agree.
offering them a value proposition. So I would just approach like as you make relationships, right? You definitely need to do a lot of the community building and relationship
Mhm.
building.
Mhm.
So go out in the communities, make relationships with these prolific builders like Vlad, you know, and they'd love to help, So build a relationship with them, tell them, hey, do you mind using my thing and, checking it out and maybe posting? Great. You know. So it's a multi-pronged approach. And like Vlad said, it's gonna take time. It's not gonna like just blow up out of nowhere. It
Yeah.
is a grind, but it becomes more hopeful when you're not posting in the void and you
Mhm.
kind of don't know what you're doing. But if you go and post where the eyeballs are at, you get a better feeling for the direction you're going in.
Got it. That makes
Anybody?
sense.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything else they want to add?
Yeah, no, I
No,
was gonna say I do agree with what you said, and I think the idea would be to show, not tell. If you just show what your app actually does, or
Mhm.
you building something with it, and then people will, sometimes you don't know you have a problem until you see a solution.
Mhm.
All right. Don, my man, you want to share
Uh,
your project?
yeah, like I said, I'm on my phone, but I'll share the link if you want to browse
No, we're
through
not saying project. Just describe it. Like describe it to everybody. Like
it.
this is
Yeah,
like
so
kind of practice
it's
to pitch your.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's sort of part of my developer journey. Started coding about 6 months ago, just trying from tutorials. And what I found myself doing every time and then, I did start a few projects that never got anywhere. And every time I was looking at different websites for inspiration, for layouts and design. So what I decided to build is a tool, it's a Chrome extension that loads up on any website, and you can directly extract the HTML and CSS of that layout. So if you like a button, a header, a tag, card, for example, you just copy that directly straight and it converts it to production ready code. So you can copy anything from a good website directly to your code, add it to your project, and export it in any framework that you'd like. And with that comes with a web app, which is your personal component library. So you
Mhm.
can scrape components and continue to build up your asset list from there. Um, and that's sort of my idea with this, sort of to help during your development and inspiration. So the idea is to turn your inspiration into code. I did find myself going on Claude, on all these other AI places with screenshots to, can you recreate this layout for me, because I was new to it. So this is sort of to help speed up your design process, and as well as build your own asset library that you can use and reuse on any project, any framework. It will
I
just
love it.
export to that. Yeah.
It's clear, it's kind of like it's super clear. You know, you needed this kind of for your own research, right? Um, I just want to see how because you don't have a video and it's like visually uninteresting. Gonna get in there, but anyways, it's super clear, and I like what you're doing. You're like, hey, I needed this to kind of do my own design stuff. and kind of get inspiration and kind of make research into this like collectible thing where you can go back and learn from. I like it a lot. Who do you plan on, like, is this something you're giving away or you're selling it, or what is it?
It's my first project, so I do want. I'm building a solution for myself, but as I did lose motivations and projects that I didn't really align with or personally wouldn't use. So my idea was, if I build something I can use, I can put it out there. And I tried the prototype of using this tool, and it worked. So now I would like to package it as a product, and that's sort of where I am at the moment. I've got a wait list, a landing page that users can view and share interest, but it's obviously moving from being someone that builds something to actually putting something out. It's drastically different. So that's sort of where I am at the moment, quite unsure of
So
what
is
the
it
next
built? Do you
steps
have
would be.
is the tool ready?
Yes, it's just needs repackaging. So I've got my wait list out. You can go onto the website now, but it's just fixing the UI, but the core
Okay.
concept, it works.
So it's
So
launching soon, and you want to, what do you want to charge for it? Like, and who are you targeting?
I did do sort of need to align it properly, but I would target probably people in my situation. So even people new to coding, indie developers, and perhaps if other teams do want to use this, and probably in those use cases add more features for version control and collaboration. But that's sort of down in the line. But
Down
at
the
the
line, yeah.
moment, yes. So it's sort of trying to get the right people to use it, but it's obviously getting the word out there. And if there's enough traction for it, I'm full steam ahead. I will do that regardless, but I'd like it to be something valuable and something I look back to. And I mean, I would use it personally, and I think if I did show it to someone else, they would use it. But it's trying to get people to pay for the service, and I currently would be charging $30 a year for it, and just to cover for, because also it does have AI code cleanup. So whatever you extract, you can clean it up into React framework, Angular, or Svelte to your preferred format, or just pure CSS if that's what you
Okay.
like.
And all right. So what is like your question? Like, what do you need help with?
I think it's going to market, and how do I get the word out? How do I get initial users? And it's I do have. I've only recently joined Twitter because X Space, because I just when you do these things, it's a passion or journey, so you never really actually show other people. When you do need to sell something out, you need that community, and you need to spread the word. So it's sort of getting initial users and traction to what I'm building.
All right.
It's where do I start? I'd really love to show it to
Team
you.
assemble. Like, anybody have
I,
any
would really love
ideas
to.
for our
I
friend
would,
Dan?
I would really love to show it. It's just because I'm on my phone, I can't share it.
No,
I've
no,
shared a link
it's
in
not
the.
it's not part of the show anyway,
Oh,
so don't worry
okay.
about it.
No.
But yeah, anybody have any ideas? Jordan, my man, or Vlad. Vlad's always
Yeah.
has like
Yeah.
the most fire ideas.
Go ahead, Jordan. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say I'm in the same boat. Yeah, trying to, see what I can do to come to market, like kind of planning up to that launch point. So, no, Vlad, go right ahead.
Okay. I mean, something that I've noticed that's working for people is, and Saeed knows this, is like the stories sell, right? Like how you came to be to the idea. This whole concept that you're new to coding and this is your first project. Usually, this gets a lot of attention. Like a lot of people, believe it or not, it's on the same boat, and they get motivated by this kind of story. So they approach it as a story. So why you're building this, how you came to the idea, what's your workflow like you don't know how to code, how did you start? Like a lot of people is kind of going through the same path. So they like you mentioned yourself, like a lot of people, they want to see, they don't want to they want to see what exactly you're doing. They don't want to read a tweet about, they'd rather watch a video or a little screenshot of what you're doing. Like this gets more attention than just kind of if you just post, oh, I just did a new commit, whatever it is, like showing what you're doing, it gets more eyes on it. So I would say this is the best way for you in this case right now.
Yeah, and just so that Vlad's in, because Vlad started with one piece of advice and then ended with a different piece of advice. But yeah, to basically stories, and I like that Vlad said this. The way stories work is that you kind of connect with this kind of common narrative that a lot of people resonate with, like whatever, the underdog, right? I don't know how to code, and I'm, whatever, and I built this, and now it's helping me, and whatever. So you connecting with the common narrative that everybody has and making it your own and sharing that definitely resonates with a lot of people. And then the second piece of advice is you need to back it up with visuals, proof, videos, make it easily consumable, right? No one wants to read 500 words of your story. They want it interactive, they want it fun, they want it entertaining. So that's when you got to layer on top of it, kind of your creativity, your personality, make it you, right? Because the difference between you want to hook into an archetype and not a stereotype, right? An archetype is kind of this narrative, but you make it yours, A stereotype is this narrative that everybody kind of knows and it's cliche, and you don't want that. You want the dawn version of the underdog story, right? And people are going to see themselves in you, and then look up to you. And that kind of looking up to someone is very important. Jordan, my man, you're nodding your head. You're like, hell yeah, what's
No,
going on
no,
through
I
your
like
mind?
that. I like that. Just not sharing the narrative that's just like, oh, okay, yeah, everybody started coding from somewhere, blah 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 blah. But like actually showing like the real story. What's the real story behind why you started? How easy was it for you? Was it hard? What's the hurdles? Like, we've been seeing a lot like on social media, like in the last couple of years, like people love to post about failures. And I think that's still good. Like posting about what was hard, not just, hey, everything's, always gravy. Post about the challenges, post about what's difficult, how you almost quit or whatever it is, those things, people like it. Yeah,
Yeah, especially when there's a win at the end of that.
exactly.
Uh,
Yes. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with all of that, and we'll try and be adding that teamwork strategy to getting things out. Only issue is when you have a small following, it feels like you're climbing a mountain. But I
yeah,
do
but
appreciate
I
all
have
the
an idea for you
advice.
that's not related to that, which is since you're scraping components and like trying to re-engineer components, just posting amazing components
Yeah,
and then telling everybody, hey, you can go scrape this using my thing, you know, is a good content kind of machine that you can create. You can make that into a newsletter, like a weekly. These are the best components of the week that I found. And now you kind of
yes,
give yourself this job of finding components every week and then cataloging it, and you becoming like the grandmaster in your little area where it's like you're telling
yeah.
everybody, hey, go collect a component library, you know, and you are the connoisseur with the biggest library of components, and you're sharing your library with people.
And I do like that. Probably I will start a weekly thing. It's my component shopping list, I'll call
Something, yeah, exactly.
it.
Yeah. Joseph, you got
Right.
any input?
Thank you.
Um, That's a great idea. That's kind of what I was gonna say too. Like go and scrape like Google or Facebook or something, and then maybe like hey guys, like this is the Google search or something like that. You want it? There you go. It's free. That would be very
Yeah,
cool to have.
exactly. I love that. Like you can do it like based on, a whole website. You're like, hey, this amazing app or this amazing website, these are the component parts of it, and here's all the yeah, I love that angle too.
And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Raymond, you got any input? Feel like you have so many ideas you're just sleeping on.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and it's definitely something I would end up using. Um, I agree with everything that you guys said. It's a very visual product, so You got to find a way to make it visually appealing. Like, you see it and you're like, oh, I know exactly what that does. I know exactly when I'm going to use it and how I'm going to use it. And so I just think you should focus on that visual part, just like everyone else said.
Hey, uh,
Yeah,
Ray, you want
thank
to
you.
share anything? Or not?
Uh,
Not yet.
Not yet. No.
Uh, you're always like, I can't wait to see it like fully in production. But Ray's building like a kind of Lincoln Bio Plus. It's like Lincoln Bio, but it's also like a landing page kind of situation. I'm excited to see it on the wild. Jordan, my man, you want to share?
Oh, sure, yeah. So I'm working on a product called Planet KV, which is a developer's tool for storing parameters. You can kind of think of it like GitHub secrets or variables that maybe you need your application needs like maybe some state, but you don't want to save that within there. So maybe you have like serverless functions, things along those lines that might need some kind of like remote state, but you don't want to use whatever vendor you're kind of housed with. So you can kind of think of it as like a vendor agnostic, like parameter store, secret store, state management from that side. So, and then the main thing that I'm kind of trying to like really focus on, and maybe this is just from the pain points that I kind of saw with applications like this, just working in certain startups and enterprises, was that it's not very easy to manage this through like CI/CD pipelines and things like that from like the code side of it. So with that, that's kind of where I kind of got this idea. And then along with that as well, I always felt like the most of the products out there were very cumbersome from like a UI standpoint. So this is just like a strictly a API based application. There's no portal. So at
Okay.
developer tool, we all know how to use APIs. So they'll just
Yeah.
plug in API keys, create parameters, pull them, store them, and it's done.
All right. It sounds like, so who's this targeted for, as if you're thinking about it from a marketing perspective?
From a marketing perspective, like even like from like a team that I previously worked on, like you could target this from just like people that are using like DevOps in production or DevOps in startups or even personal hobby projects. Like I'm planning to have different tiers as well to say,
But
hey,
who's it
if you're
valuable
making
for?
these
I
many,
know, I know you're
oh,
kind of
okay.
explaining who can
Mhm.
use it, but who
Yeah.
would pay money for it, and who's it the most valuable to? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, from my perspective, who would be valuable to would be development teams. Development teams are going to be the ones that want to use products like this.
Okay, and development teams and what type of companies? Because this sounds like extremely like security focused product.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can think of it like security, like centric development teams, people that want to make sure that hey, our parameters, our secrets, our variables that we need to run our production code, is that going to be scalable? Is it manageable? Because that's the thing that I always ran into when we ran into these problems is it wasn't scalable. It was very cumbersome to have like parameters or secrets stored in a scalable manner.
Okay, so it's like when you scale your development team and you want to keep the secret from them,
Yeah, yeah,
that's kind of
correct. Yep,
the
exactly.
biggest. Okay,
Yeah,
so
correct, correct. Yeah, because some people, some teams that end up doing like storing them in code, but now your secret's in plain text, and it's not really secret at that point. You're still
Mhm.
pushing it up to like maybe AWS or Azure, GCP, whatever provider you're using. You're storing them in like CI/CD like source code and then pushing them up. But still, at the end of the day, now that's in plain text. That's not very secure.
Yeah, because all the developers have access to it, and sometimes
Exactly. Correct. Yeah. So you could have one master key to say, hey, you can pull your secrets and all that kind of stuff. But, or maybe we just want to have it be that, hey, you just need to give your application this API key. It's going to pull the secrets that they need to have access to run the production code at that point.
I
Yeah.
love it. I think it's
Yeah.
such a good idea, for like scalable, so even scaled like large companies that are dealing with this problem or are afraid of this risk, right? It's
Yeah.
it's such it's
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
great sell. So
Yeah.
where
For
is it
sure.
at? Is it done? Like, are you selling it?
Yeah, yeah. I'm planning on hopefully being done by like March timeframe, but I have a wait list right now. And that's kind of yeah. Listening to all you guys about like kind of going to market and things. Those are some of the questions I have as well because the products like I have the working blocks out like it's working for how it should be, but now it needs to be like hey, we don't want to just go ahead and release something that's not going to be scalable and not going to be manageable for customers. So that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, I think the one of the questions I have from my standpoint is definitely like, yeah, what does it look like to go to release and things like that, things that maybe I want to keep in mind. And then also with that is trying to find that social proof to say, hey, validating this from other people. And even like thinking about Joseph's scenario, he might be kind of a similar scenario to where it's like you might want to get out with these content creators to say, hey, I built this thing, test it out. This is what it is. Here's how you can use it. These are the good pain points that it's solving, and kind of
Yeah.
go from there. But yeah, the wait list. I mean, I'm primarily a back end engineer, so my wait list is very lazy, so to speak. I'm just using Google Forms, but yeah, it's just like there shows everything what it is, and join the wait list and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I
And
just want
I'm
to hear
also kind of
everybody. Yeah, I want
yeah,
to hear people's take on how they think they
yeah,
should go
for
to
sure.
market
Hmm.
with your product, and then I'm gonna chime because I don't want to like bias the conversation. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
anybody who wants
yeah,
to jump
exactly.
in, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go first. I think a lot of it sounds very cryptic to the average user unless you are in the back end. But I can see a lot of use cases where you just want to keep your secrets. There's a lot of things being leaked out recently, which is just a common use case. So if there is maybe a version or a way to sell the message without sort of putting a small niche on it, because it does seem a lot from the average person. If I'm not into backend, is that's a backend tool for myself. But from listening to what it does, anyone could use it if you do want to keep your secret, like you said, which I think that's a good tagline. You might want to keep it. But that's
Awesome.
just my take.
Thank you. Uh, Anybody else?
What I've seen people working on like such as technical projects like this one is they create these core communities, and they move a lot around that area there, at least for like start testing and getting feedback. I know like Cursor, I remember I was on the Discord at the beginning. Many of these technical products, they tend to have a Discord community, and developers they join, they give feedback, and then that's could be a good start. I don't know. I mean, that's something I would look into,
Yeah.
see maybe.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah, for me, I just see that this is like Vlad said, it's a technical product, and it's not aligned with this kind of indie hacker whatever. You want to talk to like senior staff at at like medium-sized companies, big-sized companies, right? Because they have that risk the most, and risk is the it's the biggest factor in value creation, like mitigating
Hmm.
risk,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And you kind of painting this picture like it's completely landing page, and then you go talk to people and say, hey, how are you? Like you find head of a development team anywhere that has like
Yeah. Hmm.
like more than 5 people in their development team, and you say, hey, got a question for you. How are you storing your secrets, and does that make you scared? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
And
Yeah. Hmm.
if they say, yeah, it makes me scared, be like, well, great, I made the solution. You don't have to share the secrets, you just share whatever, like API, or wrapped
Yep.
around whatever,
Correct. Yep.
and this is like it's a straight scare tactics, you know
Yeah.
targeted
Yeah.
to
I
the
get
right
that.
people.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it has to
Yeah.
be the right people, because you know people like us, like if you're an indie hacker, you don't care, you're storing your secrets in an EMV. You trust Vercel, you trust AWS, you trust Google. You don't want to keep it secret from them. So
True. 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 Yeah.
that's not something people think about at all. They're like, I trust them with my money, I'm gonna trust them with my secrets, they're not gonna screw me. Like, but I think where this has value and can be a
Hmm.
big game changer is in those scaled companies. Maybe not super big, because super big, they have their own ways
Correct. They build it in
to deal with
house
that.
and things like
Yeah,
that.
they've
Yeah.
they've
Hmm.
built that.
Yeah.
But companies that are about to scale, like seed stage companies, Series A stage companies, it's
That's
easy
true.
to
Yeah.
go find whoever the technical person is, and tell them, hey, how are you storing your secrets, and how do you ensure there's no internal sabotage, because that's what
True.
the biggest value proposition is, that nobody inside your company can abuse your secrets in any way. And I make it so
True.
that you don't even have to have that trust with your
Correct. Yeah.
employees, right?
Yep.
So it is purely, you gotta crush the landing page and then go talk to people, so that when they go see the landing page, they see it, they're like, hell yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes
You
sense.
know,
No, that's good. That's good feedback. Yeah.
yeah. And in terms of how you show up online, to kind of reinforce that, is to become a leader amongst your peers. So you see this building public community, tech community, development community as peers that you're trying to inspire, you're trying to share, so that when they do research, hey, who the hell is Jordan, right? And they go and they're like, oh my God, this guy's loved by all these developers. He's a crack dev or whatever, you know. You
Yeah.
have that reputation
Yeah. Yeah.
that says, yeah, Jordan is going to build something secure because he shares his knowledge freely online. He, helps people, build their stuff, or gives good advice, is
True.
building stuff on the side and all of that. So you kind of build your personal brand to kind of just build reputation and trust. But in terms of how you convert, how do you make sales, is not on social.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So, because then at that point, you're kind of trying to build your brand in a way that's like validating to other people from an external standpoint, showing, hey, these are my mindsets, and then you can kind of come in and say, hey, if you're worried about security and secrets and things like that, or like if you have like a application that needs to store some state that is secret, this is a good use case, and this is how you could do, or these are the things that you want to think about while building
Yeah,
applications
like
like this.
for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
like if you go to a tech conference, like a security conference,
Hmm.
you'll make more sales there than 6 months of you
True.
grinding it out on X. You know what I mean?
That's true. True. Yeah. Going to
You know,
places like DEF CON or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah. All those
yeah.
things.
If you go
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
conferences and just have a good landing page and a great reputation on Twitter, right? And
That's
maybe a
true.
blog
Yeah.
too, a
Yeah.
blog that talks about security. So you kind of build up your security posture or whatever, like the reputation. You then just going to place and say, hey, I'm Jordan, I'm a security guy, I've built this product. People are going to be interested, be like, oh, great, let's go get a beer or whatever.
That's true.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
you kind of show them the product. It does what it does. It mitigates risk. Bing, bang, boom. You got some sales.
Yeah. No, that's great.
So if you're thinking of how am I going to go get customers, I would, kind of build this reputation, even if small reputation, and then just
Yeah.
go
Exactly.
hit conferences, like security
Correct. Yeah.
conferences, and just, hey, my name is Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I built
Exactly.
this, you know
Yeah.
what I
No, I
mean?
like
And like,
that. I
you're a
like
nice
it.
guy. Like,
Yeah.
you've interacted with me a couple of times. This first time we meet, and you seem like just a fun dude. So like, it's gonna be easy.
Awesome. No, no, that's great feedback. I love it.
Yeah. Vlad, my man, you're the last guy to share.
Yeah, something I want to say before
Yeah,
you
please.
change subject, Jordan. It's whatever you do, like don't wait until April or whenever you're ready. Like you should start doing this now. Like your project it's complex. You should start looking into this marketing like from right now. Like I don't know, reaching out and getting people to see, like, don't wait until you have something that is scalable and so on and so forth, like you mentioned, but start doing this now just to kind of get a feeling, how
Yeah.
maybe you're pushing too far and then, stuff like that. So I
True.
think it's
Yeah. No,
important.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Reach out
saying,
to some of
especially
those
the brand
people.
building
Yeah.
part, because not that there's gonna be zero customers on social media. Obviously, technical people hang out. I'm just saying the targeting effort is gonna be better spent other places. But like Vlad is saying, tell people about your project now, because you want to build this like leadership in your peer group kind of thing, like where it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
hey, security Jordan, you want that link to happen, or whatever you're specialized in, right? You want to be
Got you.
the guy known for that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Vlad, my man,
Yes. Oh, it's my turn now. Last
it is
one.
your turn. Yeah,
Okay.
Raymond is still keeping us on ice, but yeah, you're the last guy to share.
Okay. I'm building it's called renosyncpro.com. It's basically a platform for renovation and construction companies, small to medium sized companies, to manage the way, I mean, to deal with the way they manage their visual data. So when like a contractor goes to a house that needs to be, fixed or renovated or damaged or whatever, they go, they take pictures, they make notes, and then they send it to the back office. So some companies, they use WhatsApp for this stuff. So there's a lot of administrative work to do. So on my app, they can do everything within the whole app. They can take the pictures, they can take notes. Then at the office, they can keep track of what's going on. There's AI involved, and so it's a whole kind of suite of tools within the app for them to manage their visual documentation. Yeah,
That's great. I feel like you started this project like kind
yeah,
of during
yeah.
our
Started
last calls that
yes,
we
yes,
had,
yes.
and then
Yeah,
now it's like seems like it's ready to go.
yeah. I mean, it's like 90%. I mean, it's 80% or 90%. I would say ready to
Yeah.
go. I wasn't really planning on sharing it here. I was just joining to see what you guys were up to.
Yeah.
But yeah, the project is almost ready. It's something that I have no idea about. I just saw this as an issue, and I said, let's give it my own spin. I
Yeah.
did some small research on what the other companies are doing and how much money they are making. I said, well, there seems to be money here. It's kind of like
There
a
we go.
boring. It's kind of like a boring type of business where there's no many indie hackers going or people going and building there, right? This is usually like there's companies like Company Cam, which is making like $60 million a year. There's a Canadian company called Encircle that's making like $6 or $7 million a year. And these are
Right.
companies like 60 to 200 employees. So I say, well, maybe I can build something that does something very close to it. Like it's only one guy team, so I can iterate very fast. I can play with AI stuff, and so I'm kind of going on that route. I have someone already using it. He's giving me feedback at this point. A small
Does he
renovation
like it?
company. Yes, yeah, he loves it. He
He
loves
loves
it.
it.
Yeah, they like it. They really like how they can chat with the documents, the insurance policies, and stuff like that. I implemented Rack chat and stuff, so they're very excited because I'm taking a different approach to what they're like what's available. So
Amazing.
I mean, right now, because this is like in the renovation and construction space, and it's a space that I don't have any kind of contacts or anything. Like I move in the India space. I mean, I still build small projects here and there. That's what I spend most of my time on. But like this is like the biggest project I ever kind of taken, to build. So yeah, I'm not sure at this point how to market this basically because there's on the indie hacker space this has no place, right? So yeah, so that's I mean my question
I
is
love it. Yeah,
suggestions
no,
of
it's such a
how
great.
can I
So you're kind of. I'm assuming your question is how do you want to take this to market or like
exactly how any ideas that you guys because I say well maybe I can write blogs but I know nothing about construction anything like that
construction?
so
Yeah.
yeah so
What is the
it's like
business model first of all? Like how do you sell this?
well it's like what do you mean how do I say it
Is
it
it
will
per?
be it's a SaaS so
I know, but
it's
is it
gonna
like
be
per team member that uses
yeah
it?
like
Or
I've seen like company camp for instance they use like team so they charge $25 per user.
per user?
Okay, or I think it's $25 or $35 per user, right? And then Encircle, which is like two companies I've checked into. This one charges per project, so this one charges like I don't know, $300 for 200 projects a year. So
Okay.
those are the the way those companies.
Which
So
one's the bigger one? Is it the one that charges per seat?
Encircle, no, Company Cam, that's the one they charge per user, $35 per user
Okay,
per
so
project.
let's stick to that business model. It sounds like a better business model.
Yeah, that sounds like yeah. What I want to do on my end, and I've been actually talking with my wife about this is I want to keep this simple, so I don't have to be on top of this thing when it comes to pricing. Because what I noticed is that these companies, the pricing is very complex. Say they charge $35 per user, but then if you want to use AI features, there's some extra, and then if you want to do this, there's extra. So to me, this is very time consuming. It's a lot of work to kind of start kind of kind of making this complex pricing structure. So I wanted to keep it simple. That's something so at this point, I'm not sure what the best way is to go about this. I wanted to just charge like have 3 prices, and then just go with that. That's what I would
But
like
you
to
do
do.
want to charge competitively, because if you don't charge
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
competitively,
absolutely.
it's going to be taken as a signal of poor quality.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes. So
So
I
if,
cannot. Yeah. So
yeah,
I
so
cannot just
whatever
go
they're
like.
doing, $35, you can't. I would look into more competitors. And are you at like feature parity? Like, do you have the same features, or?
I have almost the same thing. Let's say, I mean, no 100% exactly, but I
Yeah.
have very very close features to what they have. Like
Okay.
picture storage, video storage, um, report, invoice making, um, like
So almost the
those
same.
are the main things. It's
So
almost the
like
same.
the
Yeah, I
big
mean,
things, you have the big things now.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I also have AI chat, AI questioning to documents. That those other companies, they have that, but it's extra, right?
Yeah, then
They
just
have
charge what
extra
they're
features.
charging and include AI. Do $35 a seat, and AI is included.
It's like you're saying like that's my
That should be the
price.
price, I think.
Yeah. Yes, I was right now. If you go to the page, I have three prices. I think I put $99 a month, $175 a month, and then 300. I don't remember now. I have 3
Yeah.
prices there, but I'm still not sure how to approach that. Like,
I think you
yes,
should do per user per month, because it scales. Like if a giant company wants to get you now, you have like a big contract. You know what I
yes,
mean? And if a small company, they're like, oh, I can control my pricing, right? It's not like, oh, but I just have 2 guys. I'll just use WhatsApp. You want I'll just use WhatsApp, kind of alternative to kind of go away, right?
yeah, basically.
So you want to find the price that you're going to make money. They're not going to use something else, and it's better than WhatsApp, right? So I think, yeah, like even if you want to do like 35, you want to make it like at 25, but I think per user is the way to go for this.
You think producer? Okay, that's good. That's good. That's thank you for that, because I was debating. Like I was talking to my wife. I don't know. I'm not sure which way is better.
Yeah.
But yeah. Like this company is making $65 million a year. The company can.
I think per users, and then if you want to do something like kind of generous, so that they don't feel, just say per core user, and then if you want to contract something out, you can just add contractors, up to 10 contractors free or something like that.
Okay.
And then it's like per contractor or something like, because you got to think about that, right? Because if it's a general contractor, he has a team and you're charging him per users of his team, right? But then contractors also need to kind of onboard, right? And take photos and all of that.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
you got to think about how to incorporate them generously without you kind of breaking your mind. Because if there's a way around something, people are gonna do. Like always assume that if there's a way to cheat the system, they're gonna cheat the system. So how do I make it like an uncheatable system, or it's like just not worth it for them to cheat the system, right? And you can do that with generosity and like making the price per user good enough for you that they can kind of invite people for free, and it's now a benefit that when they compare with their other competitors, like alternatives, when they're, because at the bottom of the funnel they're going to be choosing, Vlad's company, whatever the other 2 companies are, and they're going to see the features and the pricing and how's it, their workflow, which is the cheapest for their workflow, which has the highest quality for their workflow, and which one they can trust that is not going to go out of business at the end of their project, right? So all of these things are considerations people think of, and the smaller it is, obviously, the less they want the super reliable that's going to be here for 10 years business, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would do it per user, because
Per user. Yeah. Okay.
it'll make more sense for you. And then in terms of growth, it's one at a time, bro. Like I would start in your local market, because you can go meet them and show them, and because
Yeah. I thought about going to this conference, whatever, like
conferences,
events
events,
they have construction events and stuff like that. So maybe I should just put a suit and go there and stand there.
100%. Yeah. Just easy, like, hey, what, and it's conversational. It's not, hey, you know, it's like, hey, how are you managing this? You might like it's kind of like you're doing research.
Yeah.
You approach this conversation as not as you're going to sell anything. It's, hey, I want to understand your workflow because I'm building this thing and I want to make it amazing for people like yourself.
Mm.
You know, and it's one at a time. And when you do it per user, you know, each one you kind of close is enough income for you to be like amazing. Next one, and you know, you kind of deliver on them, and they get, you know,
Yeah, but I
the
get
confidence.
I
You know,
get what you're saying. There is like it's going to expand bigger, right? Because I mean, if I charge $100, which is the way I had it right now, there, I mean, if the company has 50 employees, obviously by usage is way more convenient for me, right? It's way better.
and you don't want to feel gypped, bro. Imagine like you're like $100 per month, and like a 5,000, you
Yes, yes, yes. That's
giant
ridiculous.
companies like, hey, this has the exact same features as this giant software we're using. You know, let's just use him. And you're like, God damn it, I'm servicing a 5,000. You know, you're gonna feel,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you
That's
know,
true.
and they
That's true.
might
Yeah,
even like if they use AI. Imagine all 5,000 people use the AI function, and like, you know,
yeah,
now
yeah. It's
you're
gonna
all
expand.
open AI like $10,000 every month. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
on $100 per customer. So you want to make it align with your interests.
yeah. Exactly. That's true. Yeah, no, that's a good feedback, man. Thank you for that. I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna make
yeah.
use of
Anybody
this.
else have, any feedback for Black?
Yes, I'll go first. Luckily for you, I'm in the industry, so I'm a full-time building service consultant.
Hell yeah.
It's my job, so in the industry. I go on different sites and projects, do condition surveys, take pictures, create a report, and I do that on my phone, and it's the worst thing ever because once I go back, now I have to put all this, write the report. So it's your market, it's there, it's perfect. And in terms of growth, you only need one because once a company uses a service, anyone else that they bring onto the project, they have to follow the company policies and things that they do. So your product will reach more hands eventually, because most of these projects you have 20 different teams working on it. So once one of them uses it, they have to use it. So if you do approach construction managers, project managers, that is your goal. And I'd probably suggest to try and literally Google different construction companies and just literally just send them emails saying, how are you doing this currently? I have a product that is quite competitive, it helps solve these problems. You can create your reports and maybe even add a feature that they can add their branding to this report. So now they don't have to copy and paste these things back. They can directly export these and send this out because it's my day-to-day job. We do this. I do this probably 3 times, sometimes in a day, and send these reports out because the client wants to know what is the state of what I'm building, how is all this. But if different people in the team, some are using WhatsApp, you got people in Teams, Zoom, there's the information gets lost, and it's a very sort of information-based industry that all everything needs to be correct and aligned. So if there is, but you're trying to solve very big problems that I deal with that on a daily basis. So I'm probably your best use case customer. And at some point, I'd love to try. I can give you feedback because I can even go
Please.
on site one day and do this. Walk around and test it in there. That's something I would definitely buy. And
Sure, sure.
with
I'll absolutely.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
with
it's gonna have all
companies,
this. It's gonna have AI to do the report. So yeah, yeah, absolutely. We have to talk after this because
Yeah, I love it. And
it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a different platform for sure.
what's
yeah,
good about what
it's
Don
good.
said is that there's this kind of built-in virality because they got to onboard. So you kind of
Yeah,
paying attention to that and making sure that onboarding contractors is super easy, and then they fall in love with it and they want it for their team. That's kind of a flow that you got to pay attention to. So I really like that. But I just want to, you can listen to Don's advice, but I want to put in my thing. Cold outreach is not recommended because cold outreach, you kind of burn your credibility if someone is like, how'd you get my email? Right? I didn't allow you to send me this sales pitch. And since what Don said is true, that when that contractor knows 30 other contractors. So if you burn your credibility with one contractor and then they kind of talk, hey, I saw this app. Yeah, that, weirdo emailed me, and you don't want that kind of to happen, right?
Just a quick one on that. It's the
Please.
industry does not work with individual people. Like the emails that get sent to the company, no one else gets to see. It's HR. So there is someone that receives these emails because that's how you get jobs. People say, "Oh, I'm looking to do a condition survey. Can you give me a quote?" So it's a constant thing that keeps going forward. You send them out. If you don't get a reply, then it's
I
not
love it.
needed. Yeah. So
Then I
it's
stand corrected. I love it. Then let me ask you this question, Don. Has your company bought any new technology recently?
Yeah, it happens all the time. It's
Can you
and
can
they
you walk us
cost
through? Can you walk us through that? Like,
yeah.
how did that happen? Like, what's the latest thing that got
So
incorporated? And then,
essentially, it would be in terms of, let's say we recently we switched our accounting because we had an old lady and she retired, and then we had to look at the market. But then we looked what is the easiest solution that we can manage, but also it will be easily adaptable. So we get someone new that can take over. So you do need a very clear workflow, simple user face, because there are other systems like Zero and all these bigger ones, but there's so many levels that your average person or most people don't want to deal with unless you have a whole team dedicated to just that. But essentially, we do invest and pick up new ideas. So if we do find, oh, this is good for going on site, we can take pictures, we'll do it. And by the way, the company has got about 30, 45, 50 people. They would get, the initial one would be probably for the main people. So let's say, let's get 10 seats, see how that go. And oh, we love it. Now let's get everyone onboarded onto it. And this is going to be our new way of documentation. And literally every single time, that's how it is. Initially, you don't just buy in fully because you want to see that it adapts to your team. So having per seats per person is probably the best idea because that person, it's basically they look at what benefit does it give us. Does it give us, we will spend time writing reports because that's the easy bit. The bigger bit is actually the problem solving afterwards. So you're making a process easier and solving a real issue. And then it's the pain point that they have, and they all do, because I've met hundreds of contractors in London. I work in central London, and all the teams I work with, some have different products, and they don't integrate well with other systems. So you find a company that they have the in-house system, but you can't outsource it because it's a proprietary
yeah, no,
intellectual
it's
property.
Vlad's crushing it, and I got a kind of feature recommendation, Vlad. And since people kind of use WhatsApp to kind of record and whatever, you should figure out a WhatsApp interface so that you kind of create that super frictionless.
Right. Actually, right now it's very basic, but it has some kind of like a chat in there where you can just type stuff and then it behaves like a chat. Yes, I
No,
can
not
make it
like
look
that.
more.
No. Like, imagine I'm out in the field. I don't even need to download your app. I can just send photos and videos to the app, the boss's app, with WhatsApp.
And then the AI would collate all of that into a report, for example, or into
It doesn't
a
even have to be
profession
AI or report or anything. Just
form.
imagine I'm the boss, right? And I have Vlad's app on my thing. And my contractors go out, they take pictures, and then they WhatsApp, not me, but my app. And then I can see all the photos and videos on the app. And then I can create the
Yeah.
reports
It's
and
like
all
a
of that.
bot. Yeah. That's something that I have that in the pipeline. Actually,
Hell yeah.
it's a bot that is going to be monitoring that if the company, because I thought about this, I said, well, some of these people it's going to be hard to make them switch.
Yep.
So I have in the pipeline a bot that's going to monitor the chat, and it's going to base on the project they're working on, because the projects are categorized by address, right? So the bot is going to go into the chat based on the address, and it's going to pull the pictures and it's gonna add them to the app, because my app is gonna be web-based.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna pull them and it's gonna add them into the actual project on the web app. Yes, that's part of the stuff that I have there. There's gonna be a before and after section. It's gonna create videos for contractors to promote their work. I have a lot of AI stuff because it's boring. It's a boring business. I'm doing everything I can to make it fun for me. So it's gonna have a lot of AI experimentation and bots and it's
yeah, because to bridge that, because like some people in these like contracting businesses, right, you know, they're just not tech savvy at all. They're like, I know how to use WhatsApp. Can you just keep me on WhatsApp? And if you can kind of solve that for people, it'll be, you know.
No, that's in the pipeline. That's in the pipeline.
Just another thing on the AI bit. Maybe it's different in the United States, but certain companies in AI, they don't have that. So some places, because it can leak information, people can, and because it's very technical based. Every project has all these things that they need to work. If you build a building and it breaks down, or you give false information, the lawsuit is ridiculous. So some companies won't accept AI. So maybe if that is an add-on, or you have it, you can use it or not. You can toggle use AI features or not, because some have policies that you can't even send a direct email. They have to send the email through a link, secret, just because of the industry is there's loads of regulations involved.
Yeah, but that's something, like kind of you should figure that out once you go into the region that's not allowed. Right now you should build V1 with everything you want there. But yeah, I think this is kind of the end of this call. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. And for everybody who's watching, thank you for watching. Next week, same time, we'll do this again. Don, Jordan, Raymond, Clyde, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Joseph was here.
Thank you, guys.